Horses like this one here have been used since the beginning of the U.S. Border Patrol. They help secure our nation's borders by searching and stopping illegal immigrants, smugglers, and contraband from entering the United States. Nearly 100,000 of these solar panels collect energy from the sun and then feed it to this substation, sending out power to thousands of Imperial Valley residents. Nearly 70 power poles went down on Sunday, literally snapping in half like this one you see here. Now APS says they're working to replace these poles with better, more reliable metal ones. The victim tells me that she believes the burglar initially tried to get in through this window in the living room, then when failing, moved to the second window about 5 feet away. Using GPS technology on a smartphone like this, traffickers are able to use elevated locations like these mountains to guide illegals across the border. We're here at Harkins Theater at the Yuma Palms Regional Center, where fans, Harry Potter fans, have been lining up since this morning. He is just dying to give us some tricks right now. Here, give me a high five. Okay, we're gonna actually have him do some more tricks right here. Kevin's going to show us how he does this. This is a preview of what you're going to see tomorrow. Guards were transferring the prisoner to city court. At that point, police say he got away despite wearing shackles. Police arrested the two men who robbed this McDonald's. As for the two men who robbed Domino's, police still do not have a clear description.
Agents on horseback receive extensive training.
For 15 years, Agent Robert Martoquin has secured our nation's border with the U.S. Border Patrol. Martoquin leads a team of 61 agents who make up the El Centro Sector Horse Unit, started in 2002. On most days, he and his horse Charlie head out to remote desert areas.
We usually see them before they see us.
To track down dangerous drug smugglers and illegal immigrants. It didn't take long for Martoquin and his team to spot evidence. About a mile into the ride, they find footprints, a sign a group of smugglers or illegal immigrants had passed through the area. What do you look for while you're out here?
We're looking for any unnatural disturbance in the sand that would indicate an illegal crossing.
Martoquin says disturbances like footprints often lead agents to as many as 20 or more illegal immigrants traveling in groups. Do you feel safe being exposed on a horse?
Yes, because agents on horseback receive extensive training, and we usually see them before they see us.
Overall, agents go through 4 weeks of rigorous training on how to ride through treacherous terrain and spot and track footprints from on top of a horse. With technology evolving, why are we still using horses?
The horses allow us to access areas that are very remote or very rugged.
Agents still use horses even today to get to places where ATVs cannot get.
The cost of a Mustang is less than the cost of an ATV. The work life of a horse is also longer than an ATV. We get an average of 5 or more years out of a horse, where we get 2 years out of an ATV. Well, the C-130, also known as Fat Albert, was flown to thrill the media and military members aboard the aircraft, reaching speeds of 370 miles per hour and heights of up to 1,250 feet. This aircraft hit zero gravity multiple times, giving everyone on board a ride to remember in just 9 short minutes. That's the sound of hitting 0 G's weightlessness from inside the belly of a C-130, otherwise known as the Fat Albert. Just minutes before, U.S. Marine Corps Captain Mike Van Wyck, who flies the Fat Albert for the Blue Angels, gave a briefing to his crew.
All right, crew, attention brief. Time is +1. We'll man at 15 for a 30 takeoff. Weather is as you see it.
Captain Van Wyck says the aircraft is unique and is the assault support for the Blue Angels. At air shows, Van Wyck says it demonstrates what this military weapon can really do.
At 170 knots, I'm going to pull 2 Gs and 45 degrees nose up, which is about 3 times what a normal airline will depart at. And we'll go up to about 1,250 feet, and we'll push over at 0 Gs, 0 gravity, so it's a weightless sensation, just like in space. And that's to simulate if someone's trying to get at you at the end of a runway, we can get up high really fast.
Reaching speeds of 370 miles and heights up to 1,250 feet, this aircraft repeatedly hit zero gravity during its flight demonstration.
Captain Van Wyk tells KSWT News 13 the C-130 isn't just for show, it's still used in combat zones like Afghanistan.
This aircraft is a tactical transport and refueler, so we can take gear into zones, we can drop it from the air onto drop zones, and we can also drop troops and refuel aircraft while we're flying, both helicopters and fixed-wing aircraft.
C-130s are among the longest-lived aircraft in American history. Van Wyk says the Fat Albert racks up 100,000 miles per year and still has a long way to go.
A lot of pieces of history with these aircraft, so this aircraft could last at least another 25 years probably.
The next scheduled show will take place in Key West, Florida. In the Newsplex, I'm Felicia Martinez, KSWT News 13.
I enjoy this very much. It's a good time to get out of the prison and and come back and do some work for the community.
For Raul Gonzalez and Mark Garner, both dog lovers since childhood, spending time and caring for animals at the Humane Society of Yuma isn't just a job, it's something they genuinely care about. Both members of the Arizona Department of Corrections Labor Force program, they too know what it's like to be locked up because they are behind bars at the Arizona State Prison in Yuma.
When I started out in this time, I started on the higher yards where we were locked down more like almost 23 hours out of a day, and you got your hour out for a rec and you walked back and forth to chow. So I know exactly how the dogs felt, and it's great. I know how I felt. I would have loved to have someone at that time come in and give me some love and and take care of me, and that's these dogs, it's a great thing to be able to come out here and just to take them out, give them some love and let them know that even though they're here that they are still loved.
Being allowed to work at the Humane Society of Yuma is not only beneficial for the dogs, but for the inmates as well.
It gives me a feeling of self-worth because I know these dogs depend on us to come in here, and even though we're just cleaning up after them and feeding them, they need that.
It's very rewarding. It's a very rewarding job. I enjoyed coming out here, like I said. And so when I am released, I will be already in the work environment, work training position, and whatever comes available my way, I'll be ready for the task.
Both inmates say their favorite part of the job is spending time with the dogs. Whether it's walking them or playing fetch, the animals are so grateful.
Even though they are locked up in those cages sometimes, when you bring them out, just to see them come up to you, want to lick all over you and jump all over you. Even though they're locked up in cages, they still have nothing but love to give to you.
Garner, who will be set free soon, says by working at the Humane Society of Yuma, it sheds some light on his own life and gives him hope for when he walks beyond the prison walls for good.
In prison, we have one attitude that we wear there. And being able to come out and work in a community, it allows me to leave that attitude behind, and it allows me to come and get back into society, because that's very important to me, because otherwise I'm walking around kind of with a chip on my shoulder, and when I come out here to work, I get to leave that behind and I get to feel once again like I used to when I was free.
Upon finishing up their time at the Arizona State Prison, Gonzalez and Garner say they plan to continue volunteering with the Humane Society and giving back to their own hometown communities.
I think being here has made me change my way of thinking, so I think that is a plus for me. And I think the reason is that I would get back to the community because I've learned a lot from these dogs. They're loving and they need someone to love them.
KSWT News 13's Late Edition.
The Blue Angels soared across the Imperial Valley today for the annual air show taking place at NAF El Centro. Good evening, I'm Felicia Martinez. You're watching KSWT News 13. Today was the Blue Angels' first air show of the season. The annual show is one of the most anticipated events in the Imperial Valley and attracts thousands of spectators. Since the 1st of January, the Blue Angels have been preparing for the air show, flying 3 times a day, 6 days a week. They flew a total of 120 times before today's show. They tell KSWT News 13 they spend 300 days a year on the road performing in air shows, and half of that time is spent in El Centro for their winter training. The suspect in the Boston Marathon bombings is in serious condition and still has not been charged. People around Boston are trying to get their lives back to normal, while investigators continue to search for clues about why and how the suspects planned and executed the bombings. Adriana Diaz has the latest from Boston. And in another accident, a motorcyclist is lucky to be alive after he hit a curb and crashed at a dead-end street. It happened late last night around 11:30 near Bark Park on Palo Verde Street. Police say the motorcyclist collided with a curb and struck his head. He was transported to Yuma Regional Medical Center and later flown to a Phoenix area hospital for further treatment. One witness tells News 13 he happened to be skateboarding back home from Walmart when he and another passerby came across the biker pinned under his bike while it was still running. And 2 people are arrested for possessing and selling narcotics. The Yuma County Sheriff's Office says 54-year-old Albert James Adamson and 46-year-old Karen Carpenter were initially pulled over by deputies. Adamson was busted for having marijuana and drug paraphernalia, and Carpenter was caught with methamphetamine, paraphernalia, and $700. The traffic stop then led the Yuma County Narcotics Task Force to their residence, where more paraphernalia was taken. Adamson and Carpenter face various charges, including possession of marijuana, possession of dangerous drugs for sale, and possession of drug paraphernalia. Police are still investigating a deadly shooting that occurred after a series of road rage events started near Gist Parkway and Pacific Avenue in Yuma. And a Yuma house deemed a biohazard by health officials will be torn down. The demolition is something News 13 first reported on last weekend. It was a house of filth overrun by bugs and human and animal feces. The city had received numerous complaints from neighbors along the 2500 block of Sierra Vista Avenue for years. Now the house is such a health hazard, the city ordered it torn down. That will cost thousands of dollars, and the city says the property owner will have to pay for it.